All right, the Super Bowl is set, baby. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We got Kansas City Chiefs against the San Francisco 49ers. Talk about deja vu all over again. Just a rematch of what 2 years ago, I think. That's yeah, not the Super Bowl everyone's wanting. People seem to be really wanting the Detroit Lions versus the excuse me, the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know why everyone's tired about Kansas City. As it's not like they're the new New England Patriots or anything, and everyone doesn't have Taylor Swift fatigue. Me, I don't mind it at all. I think it's funny how everyone is complaining about her. She's on the screen for like a minute out of what 3 hours of football. So whatever, grow up and get over it. But anyway, yeah. Oh, those games were nuts yesterday. A little bit of controversy, especially in that first matchup. Everyone's saying it was Kansas City Chiefs and the refs versus the Ravens. Maybe the Ravens played with a little bit more discipline. Um, they wouldn't have lost that game. Maybe they show up with a little bit of urgency. You wouldn't have lost that game. That Ravens defense last week, my God, man, they were bouncing around, flying around all over the place against Houston. Like they're geeked up, they're amped up, ready to go. This week, they did not look like they were ready to play at all. Like, did you forget you were playing Patrick Mahomes? You forget you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, defending Super Bowl champs, a team that's about to become a dynasty if they win this next Super Bowl. And Harbaugh, he totally dropped the ball, not having that team ready to play at all. They're like what, 2 wins out of their last 9 playoff games. We're an organization that people act to, that act like Baltimore is one of the top teams in the league. They haven't shown it in the playoffs. They're, they modeled their franchise after the Steelers, and they seem to be modeling their playoff play after the Steelers. The entire AFC North is shit the bed this week, which was surprising. I knew Pittsburgh would lose. I thought Cleveland would have played a little bit better, and I thought Baltimore definitely this week would have played a whole lot better. But, only putting up what 10 points. Yeah. You know, you you go up against the Kansas City team. They have, their defense is underrated. They scoring wise are one of the better team defenses in the league. But my God, you could run on this team, and you ran the ball what 6 times, six handoffs to your running backs. I mean, get out of here. Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah, 6 to your running backs. Zay Flowers had 2 on reverses, and Lamar had 8 rushes. Get out of here. That's not a you. No, no, no. You got to run the ball, control the clock against this Kansas City team, and they could not do that, which is just surprising. Buffalo ran all over Kansas City. Did it help them win? No, obviously it didn't. But my God, yeah, Lamar was not having his best day passing. Let's be honest. It was terrible. One of his worst passing performances in all season. So why not run the ball? Use your running backs. Use Gus Edwards. Dude, it was every 3 carries, 20 yards. And feeding on the rock a little bit more, you know, control that clock. I just didn't get the game plan there. Um, in Kansas City, they're just Kansas City. Like whatever they dial up just seems to work. Pachenko had a nice little game. Didn't have a lot of yards, but he key yards, man. When they needed the yards, he got the yards. You know, but they're gonna have to do better in the playoffs. You can't go averaging under under 3 yards a carry. You got to do better than that. But it's do enough to keep the other team honest, keep the play action alive, and that's what they were able to do. And Baltimore wasn't able to do that. You don't run the ball enough, you can't draw anyone into on play actions. I just didn't get what they were trying to do on offense. And Kansas City, like I said, my God, they're just they're the new New England Patriots. We're gonna see them there forever. Like Kelsey, he looked done early in the year. He looked done, like he was washed. It was the end of the line. And then last night, 11 catches on 11 targets, 116 yards and a touchdown. He's looking like he could play another 4 years out there. It's insane how well he is playing this late in his career. He's 34 years old, and he looked like he was in his mid 20s out there, just catching everything, bowling everyone over. He was a man possessed. He's trying. trying to go out on top again. And I wouldn't surprise me if they win and he might hang it up. But it also wouldn't surprise me he comes back and tries to win another Super Bowl. One, back to back to back, the first team to win three in a row. I hate to say it, pains me to say it, but this team probably could do it. And that's what's frustrating about Kansas City. They're just so dominant right now. But then everyone wants to talk about the penalties, all the penalties against Baltimore. I don't know. Maybe don't be the third man in an altercation, headbutt someone. Maybe don't club a quarterback in the face. Maybe don't taunt over a player, spin the ball over them, stand over them. You're gonna get a flag for that. Then if you are gonna taunt someone, Zay Flowers, hold on to the ball while going into the end zone. You Baltimore, and they have no one to blame but themselves. Um, they were one of the best teams. They were the best team in the AFC this year. They had that bye. Last week they played like that team. This year, or this game, they played like one of the worst teams. It was a shock the way they came out. It's reminding me of New England all over again. You're just gonna this team in Baltimore could have beat Kansas City, but they didn't play to their strengths. They played stupid. They were undisciplined, and that's you can't do that against Kansas City. We saw teams do that all the time against New England. Go outside of what they normally do, outthinking themselves, and then losing. That's how New England. Part of the reason New England won all the time, teams outsmarted themselves to try and beat New England instead of going in with their game plan that they normally go with. They changed everything up and just crapped the bed, and that's what Baltimore did. And you get over on the NFC side. Ooh, that game looked like it was going to be a blowout. It looked like Detroit was Detroit was fired up, ready to go. Campbell had them ready to go, especially that first series. What was it? 3 or 4 plays, boom, right down the field, touchdown. Then they jump out to what, a 21-7 lead. It looked like they were, like I said, like they were going to blow out San Fran. There's no San Fran couldn't do anything. Purdy looked like Mr. Irrelevant out there. Uh, their defense looked terrible. They had one of the best defenses in the league, and they looked shocked and awed in that first half. Like they couldn't do anything. Then Detroit, man, go what CJ Gardner-Johnson on the sidelines just waving goodbye to the fans. There's still a whole second half to play. There's still what, a full 3 quarters to play at that point. You don't count your chickens before they hatch. And that's what he did, and that's what it seems like Detroit did. They let off the gas. Dan Campbell, he had a lot of questionable calls, and he made get the points. Get the points when you get it. I understand you've been aggressive all year. It got you there. You got to know when to dial it back, especially in these situations. But I get why he won for when he did. Don't have the best kicker in the world, and playing that way got you where you are. You don't really want to change it up. Don't change your style up. That brought you there, but at the same time, you might want to play scoring situation a little bit more. Like for our Penguin fans out there, we see our defense pinch all the time. When you're up, play back, play defense, play scoring situation. Same thing with coaches in the NFL that are aggressive. You got to play scoring situations, especially in these do or die games. It's a one and done series, man. Play it smart, get the points, get that lead. And you let this team hang around, and it bit you in the ass. They were able, San Fran was able to make adjustments in the second half, and then the ball was just bouncing their way. I mean, that deep pass to Ayuk for the touchdown, that should have been an interception, but it falls through the safety's hands. You're thinking, okay, it's just going to bounce to the ground, boom, dead ball, whatever, will be fine. No, it bounces off his face mask right into Ayuk's hands, touchdown. That's when the game's starting to go out of your control. The bounces aren't going your way. You see it happen in hockey, you see it happen in basketball a lot. The bounces just don't go your way. Once that starts to happen, it snowballs out of your control, and this team just wasn't able to get it back. They showed a graphic, like there was 7 games of Yeah, Detroit's roster had like three guys played in a grand total of seven NFC Championship games. San Francisco had 57 games worth of experience on their roster, and it showed. It showed. San Fran was able to um, lean in on that experience. Like, hey, we've been here before. We've done this. We know we're battle tested. We can fight through this. Detroit, you know, they got a little full of themselves. Maybe they started pressing a little bit, getting a little nervous of like, it's so close. It's so close. We gotta, I can taste it. I can taste it. You just let it slip through your hands. And the moment was just too big for him. And it's kind of feel bad for Detroit. It's been what, the only team, and what that's or they've been around 57 years, 57 Super Bowls, and they haven't made it to one. That's rough for a fan base. It's rough for an organization, and the team has been building and building up to this point, and just to watch it slip through the cracks, it's devastating for them. And they might not get back. I mean, look at Atlanta. They went to the Super Bowl, they lost. Never, they haven't sniffed it since. There's a lot of teams that make it to that championship game, make it to the Super Bowl, and never make it back. This might have been their best chance. They might not get back for another 50 years. And it's just devastating for them because they've been building and building towards this for the past 3 years on this show, man. This is the team outside of the Steelers we've been watching. It's been saying, look out for this team, look out for this team. And this was the year, man. Everything was rolling in their favor. Like the entire NFL outside of San Fran, KC, and Baltimore was more or less rooting for this team. And they just total team collapse, in that second half. And I hope for them, I hope for their fan base, they can make it back. I just don't think it's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen. So now we're stuck with the Super Bowl. A lot of people don't want. What up, Derpy? What up, buddy? Yeah, I know. I'm trying to run this show solo today. I should have sent you the link, Derpy. I'm sorry. But, I wanted to try a little solo run, see how it goes. It is what it is. But the Super Bowl, man, whew, I'm looking forward to it. San Fran hasn't won the Super Bowl in what, like 30 some years. KC's, they're looking like they're ready to start a New England Patriot run. And this will be if they win, Mahomes' third Super Bowl in like what, 6, 7 years in the league. I mean, he retires now. He's probably the second best quarterback of all time. He wins two more Super Bowls. Yeah, he might not catch Brady in the Super Bowl run, but the numbers he's putting up are just insane. Insane. He might, in some people's eyes, pass Brady as the best quarterback of all time. And even if he doesn't catch the Super Bowl record with Brady, there's an argument for it. Just prefer what he's doing. Yeah, we're late today, Ron. There's a lot of actual work stuff going on. So I think tomorrow and Wednesday we'll be back on the normal schedule. Just it's a lot of stuff going on outside of the podcast. It's good stuff going on outside the podcast. So we kind of had to move stuff around today. And like I said, the next 2 days we should be back to normal. I hope so, because my God, my God, me trying to talk by myself for an hour, maybe even a half hour, I'm going crazy over here. I have notes and stuff, but it is what it is. But no, this Super Bowl, I think what San Fran's opening up, I saw as like as an early favorite, if I'm not mistaken. I saw they were like a 1 point favorite. So it's going to be a tight Super Bowl. Wise guys in Vegas don't know where the money's going to lie, so it's going to be a good one. And see, we're on a, we gave you time to go run some errands today. I'm nice like that. I like to free up people's schedule. My God. So, oh yeah, Derby, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, like 11:30 ish, probably. Um, God, one thing I'm interested to see now that Baltimore's out of the playoffs. How are Steeler fans going to react to who to root for? Because that was big drama on Steelers Twitter. Is if you rooted for this team, you're not a real Steeler fan. If you root for this team, you're not a real Steeler fan. I just find it funny. Like me personally, I wouldn't have mind Baltimore winning the Super Bowl because we kicked their asses twice this year, with and without Lamar. You know, with and without a lot of our key players, and it would show maybe we're not that far off that we thought. But I wouldn't have mind Baltimore winning. Makes the division look a whole hell of a lot stronger now. With we sent three teams to the playoffs. Our division did, and we have nothing to show for it. And it's kind of a black eye on the division. But I think we do have the best division in the NFL. We have three competitive teams. Oh, come on, Arn. You want Swifty to win. You want Travis and Taylor to get married right there at halftime. I think they should stop the Super Bowl for about 2 hours, have a nice big wedding ceremony. Usher can like perform the wedding and the halftime Super Bowl. Let's make it a whole spectacle. They're in Vegas. Go through a drive-through. At halftime, leave the stadium, go through on the drive-through wedding things, and come back and play the game. Make this entertainment, baby. Vince McMahon's out of a job. That's all I'm saying. He can book this shit. Okay. You get Vince McMahon to book the Super Bowl, tell him this is your last hurrah, make it happen, and this thing will have the greatest ratings of all time. More people will watch this than the World Cup and the cricket championships combined. It would be a truly global phenomenon. We need Vince McMahon to do this shit. Anti what the NFL wants. Yeah, a lot of people are, but a lot of people keep coming back and watching it, man. It's funny. People say, I'm done for this, I'm done for that, but yet the ratings keep going higher and higher and they keep making more and more money. It's football. I'll watch it no matter what. No, Derpy. She has a concert the night before in Japan. It's in LA. She'll make it back. She'll make it back. Baby. I love T Sweat. I'd rather see her than Jerry Jones on the TV. That's all I'm saying. Better her than Jerry Jones or Roger Goodell. I want Jason Kelsey. I think he should be back. What was it like college? They have like the dog that runs out and grabs the the kicking tees. I think Jason Kelsey should be shirtless during the entire game, and anytime there's a kickoff, he has to run out there and grab the kicking tee. If we're gonna make this entertainment, I want it over the blown over the top. So let's just keep it going crazy, man. I want more theatrics in the NFL. People want to say it's like it's pro wrestling. Make it like pro wrestling at this point. Anyway, in fun Steeler news, anniversary of the greatest draft class of all time. Like I wish I had Derpy on the show just to see if he would know who we drafted this year in 1974. Give Derpy a second to type out some names. Come on, Derpy. Who did we draft in 1974? We drafted four Hall of Famers and we picked one up in free agency. That was the foundation for the greatest dynasty in greatest dynasty in NFL history. Give you a hint on some of the colleges, Derpy. USC and Kent State were the first two. I know there's a lag on the board. Yeah, we saw Rooney's statements. I think we're saving that for definitely saving that for tomorrow when Ryan's here and Derpy's here. So we're all that way all of us can sit there and talk about them. Some of them were like not eye opening, but a little contradictory, I thought, from what a couple of his statements, when you look at them side by side, seem a little contradictory. And I don't know. I just wish, his dad was still alive running the team. That's when the front office ran smoother and the coaching staff ran smoother. But yeah, so back to the 1974 Derpy, Lynn Swan in the first round. Second round, Jack Lambert. Then we go the next pick. I can't remember, fourth round maybe. A little wide receiver named John Stallworth. And we go a couple rounds later, yeah, a little center named Mike Webster. Talk about, talk about a stellar draft class. Four Hall of Famers in one draft class. That's insane. That's unheard of. Name me a better draft class in any sport. You can't. It, you can't name a better draft class. And a lot of that, God, Bill Nunn, you know, he, oh my God, his scouting, and it was what him and Art Jr. Were in charge of scouting at that point. I think I definitely know Bill Nunn was, but oh man, they had a talent of finding players. And we did kind of cheat the system a little bit. At that time, game film was passed around, and the John Stallworth game film, his tape, kind of got lost at the Steelers facility, so we couldn't let anyone else take a look at him. That's how we were able to land Johnny Stallworth back in the day. But hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Yeah, poor Webster, man. The end of his life. Oh, that's sad and tragic. And I forget. Oh, and yeah, Derpy. We also signed Donnie Shell as an undrafted free agent safety, also a Hall of Famer. That's five Hall of Famers. Get out of here. No one has done it better. And Mike Webster at center, you go from Ray Mansfield to Mike Webster at center, DeMarty Dawson, Marquise Pouncey. That's the string of like great centers right there. And it still boggles my mind why we didn't draft Creed Humphreys in the first round when we could have got him, but we needed Najee Harris, and then we'll draft Kendrick Green in the third round as center. No, for a team that prides itself on having great centers, draft Creed Humphreys. And every time I think about Mike Webster, now I think about all the centers that we've had and how we blew that one draft. Yeah, Najee's having some pretty good success, but I'd rather have that great center myself. Oh, I'm kind of running out of things to talk about, man. I just can't wait till tomorrow to really dive into these Art Rooney comments. Because some of them, like I said, they felt a little contradictory to me. Like, we're frustrated with the lack of playoff success, but we're comfortable with the coaching. Which one is it? Which one is it? It goes hand in hand. Um, yeah, see, Derpy, you can't name a better draft class. You can't. Maybe the one where we took Jarvis Jones first overall. That might be it right there. Oh God. OC, I don't know. Like Arthur Smith, he did have success in Tennessee. They were what God, they were top, I know, at least top 10 both years he was down there in scoring. And they were definitely top five in rushing because you had King Henry down there running the ball. But he did make Ryan Tannehill look like a serviceable NFL quarterback, like a competent NFL quarterback. But then you see what he does when he gets to Atlanta when he has Bijan Robinson and oh God, the tight end they have down there. He didn't use both of them. So it's like, what are you doing? Like, will the real Art Smith please stand up? Show me. Are you the guy from Tennessee or are you the guy from Atlanta? Me for OC, I don't know. I'm leaning towards the quarterback's coach down in Houston, Gerard Johnson or Clint Kubiak, and I think that's one of the names that like reporters in the know are saying like if this is why it's taking the Steelers a little bit longer is because the coach they really want is still coaching, but they also want to get the position hired right away. So eh, there's there's still a fair chance we can still get one of the good offensive coordinators that are out there up and coming because I don't think there's a lot of openings left. There's openings out there, but I think there's still more good candidates than openings. My only worry is like some say we want Gerard Johnson out there to be the offensive coordinator, but what if another team offers him, hey, we're quarterback coach and you be passing game coordinator, and we give you another title too, and they snag him up, and we're not able to get him because we're waiting for to get someone like Kubiak, but maybe he doesn't want to leave San Fran. So it's they're in that little they're in that gray area of pulling the trigger too soon or waiting. Um, Bienemy, I'm surprised they haven't interviewed him yet, and I'm surprised he hasn't been interviewed for head coaching jobs either. I don't know what's going on there because I know Tomlin's spoken highly of Bienemy in the past, unless I don't know why they haven't gone after Bienemy. I don't know. He's out there. I don't think he's under contract anymore with Washington. I can't remember if they purged their coaching staff or not. So we'll see. Yeah, Art Smith, man. I don't know. Maybe we give him a good running back and say, hey, come up with good run plays, good play action plays, and we can figure something else out. But I don't know. I want to be me like Clint Kubiak. I think would be the guy to go after, or Gerard Johnson, because have him as OC. He won't have as much time to work with the quarterbacks, but sure he can find a way to work with Rudolph, work with Mason to help in their game. And to me, he would be the guy because he's coming from that quarterback coaching background and helping with that offense down there in Houston. I think he would be a good hire. Bieniemy, we saw what he did when he had Patrick Mahomes, but then we saw what he did when he had Sam Howell. You know, which one is it? I'm leaning towards he is the offensive coordinator that we saw down in Kansas City because you go to Washington. There's certain organizations you go to as a player and a coach. You're just not going to find success, and Washington's one of those places. It's hard. It's hard to when you have bad ownership down there. When Dan Snyder was running the team, to have a cohesive coaching staff, to have a cohesive roster. It's the way they ran things down there, and we saw what happened when Bieniemy was on a team that ran things well. So I'd like him, but he's a guy that's been around. Do they want someone younger with fresher ideas? Because Bieniemy's no longer that hot commodity. But at the same time, remember Art Smith was one of the hot commodities until he wasn't. So that's a gamble you play with getting the young and up and coming coaches. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. I think I'm going to leave it on that for today. Is with these offensive coordinators, you got to be careful, especially with any coaches, the young unknown coaches. You can hit one out of the park, or you can swing and a miss, and it sets the franchise back even more, and you can set that offense back even more. We saw it. Me, I'm not a big Kenny guy, but a lot of people are, and a lot of people think that coaching, Matt Canada sent him behind. Me, I think he was just a 1 year wonder in a down ACC. Maybe we can get a new OC and maybe get what we can get out of him, and maybe Mason has more to grow too. I just want us to, I like to see them go out and get a better quarterback. Someone like Baker Mayfield, but with the salary cap issues that we have, yeah, coaching trees are underrated. I mean, look, Washington, the Commanders, they had all these coaches that won elsewhere, but when they were all together, they couldn't win anything. So, if that coaching tree, was so great, why didn't they win anything there? That's it's me, either you have it or you don't have it. Fields, like I said, I'm hit or miss on Fields. I don't want another team's reclamation project, but if I'm Chicago, I'm sticking by him because I saw him improve every year, get better weapons around him. DJ Moore had one of the best years of his career with Justin Fields. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not impressed with any of these quarterbacks coming out of this draft. Um, a lot of them are like, my God, they're all like 24. A lot of them are 24 years old, 25 years old. Like, no, that's like when you should be hitting your peak, and a lot of them they're not complete quarterbacks. I want quarterbacks that are coming out at 21, 22 years old. That way you have time to mold them in the NFL at that younger age and maximize their development. And you got quarterbacks, like I said, people want Michael Penix Jr. He's like 24. He has a lot of holes in his game. Bo Nix, 24, 25. He has a lot of holes in his game. Jaden Daniels had one good year down in the ACC. He's reminding me of a Kenny Pickett. One great year, he won the Heisman. Kenny made it as a Heisman finalist, but you only have one good year. 1 year wonders kind of scare me coming out of college. I want to see steady growth and have a great year, or have your freshman year's kind of down, your sophomore, junior are amazing. Okay, yeah, give me that guy. But when you're average your freshman, sophomore, junior year, and then all of a sudden you have this great year, I worry about that. And that's why I'm steering towards a lot of these quarterbacks. Caleb Williams, if he came out last year, he probably goes first overall. This year he stays in. I think he exposed himself a little bit. Drake May coming out of the ACC. I don't trust quarterbacks out of the ACC. I don't. I don't. Their defenses aren't the best. Same thing with defense quarterbacks coming out of the Pac-12 or in the Big 12. I just don't trust them a whole lot. But I know you shouldn't scout the conference, you shouldn't scout the helmet, you scout the player. But it's just a personal bias that I have when we get players from those certain conferences. I'm kind of like a position player from certain conferences I kind of worry about. But that's just me. I want my offensive linemen from like the Big Ten and the SEC. I don't want my quarterbacks from the ACC. I just don't think that's a strong conference. And what's his name down in Jacksonville? And he was supposed to be this revelation at quarterback, and he's been all right, but he hasn't been that guy. You take him at number one, you're expecting him to be close to like a Patrick Mahomes or a Joe Burrow type player, and he's just not. I think he's good, but I don't think he's that elite status. But hey, what do I know? I could be wrong. I'm the guy who said don't draft JJ Watt because I watched him play one game in college. After hearing all the hype about him, I watched a bad offensive line at Penn State steamroll him. So, what do I know? Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. Thank you. How can I forget Trevor Lawrence? I like the guy. I think he's a good player. I just don't think he is that guy that's going to lead you to the Super Bowl. I think he's going to put up great numbers. I just don't see it. Unfortunately, I thought he would be that guy that's going to take that Jacksonville Jaguars team on his back and make them great. And we saw CJ Stroud, his rookie year, I think outperformed Trevor Lawrence. And the South, I think the South is going to be the Texans division for the next 10 years. They're going to be the ones. If they don't win that division, it's because they messed up. I think that team is going to be that good in the future. And that's all I got for today, guys. So we'll check you all out tomorrow. We'll be back with the full cast, full crew, full staff, full show. Won't just be me blowing through my talking points. Trevor is Sunshine from from Remember the Titans. I do want Sunshine to win a Super Bowl. I just don't think he will win a Super Bowl. I think he's going to be in like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. He'll be that guy that puts up good numbers, but come playoff time, come crunch time, they just find a way to lose. And, it happens. It happens. I think Mahomes is going to be like Brady. He's going to be there and force so many great quarterbacks to not win a Super Bowl. Yep, guys, we'll catch you tomorrow at probably 11:30 again. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Thanks for commenting. Thank you. It really did help me out today because I was blowing through talking points. I appreciate it, Derpy. Appreciate it, Ron. Oh, yeah, Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers was the guy I wanted when he was coming out of the draft. I wanted him so bad. I'm glad I'm not the GM of the Steelers because I totally would have blown that pick. I'm glad we had Dan Rooney and Kevin Colbert telling me and Bill Coward, no, we're not drafting Philip Rivers. No, we're not drafting a tackle. We're getting this Roethlisberger kid. And then thank God Dan Rooney was still there to set that organization right. Until tomorrow, guys,